Hi everyone, welcome to these creations. Today we're making this cropped sweater over here. It's made from the bottom and it's made in two identical panels, only that I didn't change colors for the back panel. So you can either do the same or you can add this design for the back panel as well if that's what you want to go for. After joining the two panels together around the shoulders, then we shall work on the sleeves and then the ribbing. And for the neckline, ribbing gives you the option where you can join this part or leave it open like I did. And I really love it. So for the yarn, I used only about 3.5 balls of yarn, and each ball was 170 grams, so I used 3.5. The other thing you're gonna need is a tape measure. You're going to need about 4 stitch markers. You will need a darning needle to weave in your ends. For the hooks, we're going to be using a 4.25mm hook, and this is for the ribbing, and then a 5mm hook for the rest of the body of our sweater. And also you're going to need scissors to cut the strands. Okay, so the measurement you're going to need is that of from your one shoulder to the other. And I'll be showing you guys the rest as we go. But before we get started, click that subscribe button and remember to share this video with your friends, and let's grow this channel. Okay, so let's dive in. With the 4mm hook, make a slip knot. Then you're going to make a chain of 11. If you want your ribbing to be longer, you're going to add more chains or make less chains if you want it shorter than this. So after your 11 chains, you're going to skip that first chain, and into the second, you're going to make a single crochet. I have turned my chain and I'm working in the back bumps of it. Make one single crochet until you get to the end of the row. When you get to the end, you're going to make a single crochet into that last stitch, and your work should be looking like this. Count your stitches and make sure you have a total of 10 single crochets if you chained 11 like me. Row 2, chain 1, turn your work, and into that first stitch, you're going to make a back loop single crochet. So instead of going through both loops, we're going to go through only one loop, which is at the back. Make one single crochet in every back loop until you get to the end of the row. Once you have one stitch left, you're going to go through both and make a single crochet. And that marks the end of row 2. And at this point, you should still have 10 single crochets. Row 3, we're going to repeat row 2. So chain 1, turn your work, and into that first back loop, make a single crochet, make a single crochet into the back loop of the next stitch, and you're going to repeat that until you have one stitch left at the end, because in the last stitch we're going to insert our hook through both loops. Here we have our last stitch, and we're going to go through both and make a single crochet. And that marks the end of our third row. Chain 1, turn your work for the fourth row, and you're going to repeat that same pattern. Okay, you're going to repeat that over and over until you have enough inches. So here I went ahead and made a total of 76 rows, and this is about 2 inches long and about 17 inches wide. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a single crochet row across as we start on the body of our sweater. So you're going to make a single crochet in that first row of single crochet, and then on top of the ridge you're going to make a single crochet. Make a single crochet between the 2 ridges right here in the middle, then make a single crochet on top of the ridge, single crochet between the 2 ridges, single crochet on top of the ridge, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end of the row. So at the end of this first row of single crochet, I'm going to have a total of 76 stitches, just like I made for the ribbing. Okay, I made 76 rows for the ribbing, and after this row of single crochet I'm going to have the same number of stitches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and repeat until I get to the end, then I'll be back to show you guys what to do next. After making the single crochet row, we're going to start working on the clusters, on making the clusters or the granny stitch. This is where it starts from. So chain 3, turn your work. That chain 3 is going to count as our first double crochet. So after that you're going to skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and into the third you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Yarn over and skip 2, and into the next make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Skip 2, make a cluster into the next stitch, and you're going to repeat with that pattern until you get to the end. So once you get there, I'll show you guys how to complete the row, okay? So once you get to the end of the row, your work should look like this. And for me here, I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I have a total of 24 clusters. Okay, so once you get to the end, you'll have 2 single crochets left for you to skip. If you have one single crochet left, you can skip that, or you can take it out and make one row of, you can add one more row of single crochet for the ribbing part, and then everything will match up. Okay, so once you get to the end, you're going to yarn over, skip 2, and you're going to make a double crochet to complete the row. Okay, so going to yarn over, pull through 2, and once you have only 2 loops, you're going to get your second color. Mine is pink. Make a slip knot, and we're now going to complete this stitch with our pink color, like so. Then we push this to the back, and then we chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we turn our work. So row 2 for the clusters, you're going to yarn over, and into this first space you're going to make 2 double crochets. that is 2, because the first chain is counting as a double crochet. Yarn over again, insert your hook into that same space, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and once you have 2 loops left, you're going to drop the pink color or color B and grab color A and complete that stitch like this. Yarn over, and you're going to skip the next 3 double crochets and make a cluster into this next space. So working over our color B, you're going to insert your hook in that space and make a cluster of 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2. While making the third one, we're not going to complete it. So instead of pulling this same yarn through, you're going to drop it and pick up color B, and we're going to complete this stitch with that color. Okay, so just simply yarn over with that, pull through with that color and complete the stitch. Next, we're going to use color B, insert your hook into that next space, pull up a loop, and you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Again, while making the third double crochet, you're not going to complete it with that same color. So you're going to drop it and pick up color A and finish the stitch with that color. And you're going to keep repeating that until you get to the end. So basically what we're doing here is we're mixing the colors up. Color A, then B, A, B, like that. I hope that's clear. So that's what you're basically going to keep repeating while you work over the color that's going to be in the next cluster. On our next row, I'll show you how to hide it so it won't be seen so easily. So I'm going to keep repeating that same pattern until I get to the end. So as I kept working on this pattern, I noticed that it's better to push the yarn to the back instead of pushing it to the front, like what I'm doing right now. So just keep that in mind. Once you get to the end of the row, this is how your work should be looking. And as you can see, the colors are alternating between color A and color B. I'm going to make my last cluster with you guys, and I'm making 3 double crochets into this last space. And for the last stitch, you can either place it in the space or on top of the chain. And after this last stitch, we're going to get our scissors and cut off color A. So we're now going to be left with only color B. which we're going to use for the next row. So at this point, this is how your work should be looking, and as you can see, we have ended with pink and we started with pink for this row we just completed. And on the row below, you can see that we started with a chain and ended with a chain or a double crochet. So the next row, we're going to chain 3, turn our work, yarn over and into the next space, so skip the next 3 double crochets, and into the next space we're going to make a cluster while working over the strands of yarn from the previous row. We're going to do that again, so yarn over, insert your hook under those strands that we were hiding on the previous row, or the strands that we carried along. Again, insert your hook into the next space, going under the carried along yarn and making a cluster of 3 double crochets. And that's what you're going to repeat until you get to the end of this row using only color B. When you get to the end of the row, here we started with a chain 3, so here we're going to end with a double crochet. Okay, so insert your hook, pull through 2, and once you have 2 loops left on your hook, we're going to reattach color A. And what we're going to do for the next row, we're going to basically repeat row 2. Okay, the colors are going to be alternating between color A and color B. I know it kind of looks hard here, but it's really easy to do. So we're going to be inserting our color B right in these spaces. Okay, and then we're going to put color A right here. All these spaces are going to be for color A, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So after reattaching color A, you're going to drop it and pick up color B and continue working with it. Okay, so you're going to chain 3 and turn your work. Whenever you're changing colors, make sure you start with color B. And in this first space, you're going to make 2 double crochets. So insert your hook, pull through 2, pull through the last 2, insert your hook again, but this time do not complete the stitch with that color. So you're going to drop it and pick up color A and complete the stitch. Like so. And now we are basically going to repeat row 2. So the stitches are going to, the colors are going to alternate between color A and color B. So in this next space, you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. When you make the 3rd stitch, do not complete it. Drop that color and pick up color B and complete the stitch. In this next space right here, you're going to insert your hook and make a cluster of 3 double crochets using color B. And that is what is going to form that little design that we have in the sweater, like you guys have seen in the picture. So you have to make sure that that color goes between those 2 clusters. And after that, you're just going to continue changing color like that until you get to the end. I kept forgetting to change colors, but it's normal. And when you get to the end of the row, you're going to drop color A and finish that stitch with color B. And then into this last space, you're going to use color B to complete it. And as you can see, we've been starting with color B and ending with color B while making this little design. So keep that in mind, that we're starting with color B and ending with color B while making the design. Okay, so this is how your work should be looking. And for the next row, I'm going to be using only color A. So I'm going to drop color B and finish this last stitch with color A. And at this point, I'll get my scissors and cut off color B so that I can continue using color A for a few more rows. I think I'll do like 5 rows and then I'll change colors again and do the little design. I'm going to weave in my ends in lighter. So after that, you're simply going to chain 3 and you're just going to continue with the pattern, only that this time you're going to be using only 1 color. So chain 3, turn your work. Skip the next 3 double crochets and into the next space you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets while you go under those strands that we have right there. Okay, so make sure you insert your hook under those worked over yarn. Make 3 double crochets and into the next space, go under the worked over yarn and make a cluster of 3 double crochets. And by doing this, we are hiding those tails, so you can have a neat project. So we're going to continue like that, making 3 double crochets in every space until you get to the end of the row. When you get there, you're going to chain 3 and then repeat the pattern. I'm going to do 5 rows like I said earlier, and then I'll be back while we change colors and do the diamond pattern again. Then I can show you guys one more time, and then I do the rest off camera, okay? I went ahead and completed a total of 5 rows without changing colors, and we're now going to do it again. So you're going to make a slip knot with color B, and we're going to reattach it, and we're going to repeat row 2, 3, and 4, okay? So while changing colors on this last stitch, I'm not going to complete it with color A. I will simply attach color B to complete that stitch. And I'll have something like this. Then I'll chain 3 and turn my work. And we are now going to start with color B, and the colors are going to alternate again between color A and color B all the way until we get to the end of the row. So after the 3rd stitch, you're not going to complete it. Pick up color A and complete the stitch. Into the next space, you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Then you're going to drop color A and complete the stitch with color B. And with color B, we're going to make the next cluster. So make your 2 double crochets. Then make the 3rd one, but not complete it. Drop that color and pick up color A and complete the stitch. And then you're going to repeat the pattern. Okay, then with color A, you're going to make the next cluster of 3 double crochets. Okay, when you get to the end of the row, you're going to end the row with a double crochet, and for the next row we're going to use only pink color, which is color B. Okay, so you're going to chain 3 and turn your work. At this point, you're going to cut off color A and just continue using color B. So you're going to yarn over, and into this next space, you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets going under the worked over yarn. Make 3 double crochets. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next space, making sure that you insert your hook under the worked over yarn and make a cluster of 3 double crochets, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end of the row. So this is how your work should be looking, and as you can see, we have half of the diamond, meaning we're missing only 1 cluster in the middle of each diamond right here to complete it. Make a slip knot with color A. And to complete this row, we're going to insert our hook, and this is row 11. Okay, so with color B, we're going to insert our hook into that last stitch and pull through 2 and get our color A and finish that stitch with it. And that way we have reattached that color. But we're going to continue using color B. Okay, so you're going to drop color A and continue with color B with color A attached already. So chain 3, and we're going to continue using color B. And the reason why is because we need to start with color B so that by the time we get to the middle of half of our diamond, it's color B that is going to go into those spaces. Okay, and then color A will go right in these ones. Okay, so the colors are going to be alternating again like what we did here. But watching me do it, I think will be more easier than me explaining it. So let's go. So chain 3 and turn your work. And in the first space here, we're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. So we already have the chain 3, so we're making 2 more. And like we've been doing, complete the stitch with color A and make the next cluster with color A, as you're seeing. To complete that stitch, drop color A and complete the stitch with color B. And you're going to repeat that over and over until you get to the end of the row, making sure that color B is going between the half of the diamond. And at the end of the row, I'm going to complete the stitch with color A. Chain 3. And at this point, we're going to cut off color B because we're going to continue working with color A for a few rows, for 5 rows. So I've already chained 3, turn your work, and we're now going to make a cluster in every space using color A. So yarn over, insert your hook under the next space, making sure you go over the worked over yarn, and make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next space and make a cluster. And this is the pattern I'm going to keep repeating over and over until I have the length that I want. So I'm going to change colors 2 more times after this. Yeah, I'll change colors 2 more times and then I'll be back to show you guys what to do next, okay? So yeah, I'll be changing colors after every 5 rows of using color A. Okay, so see you in a minute. Alright, so here I have a total of 34 rows completed from this row, from where we started making the clusters to where I'm at right now, and I have a total of 34 rows, which measures 14 inches long. Okay, right there. If you want yours to be longer than this, make more rows before the next step. So the next thing we're going to do is mark the shoulders, and for me it's going to be 6 inches right here. So I'm going to get my stitch marker and place it there. Then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Let me see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clusters. So I'm going to count 8 clusters on this side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in this next space, I'll place my stitch marker. Okay? So here we have 6 inches, and we have 6 inches on this side as well. The neckline is going to be 7.5 inches. Okay, so we're now going to work from the stitch marker to this side, and we're going to leave this space open. So get your hook. It is mine here. So I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn my work. Then I'm going to continue with the pattern until I get to the stitch marker. So once you get to the stitch marker, you're going to yarn over and make only 1 double crochet into that space. The reason why we're making 1 double crochet in this space is because we started with a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. So the next row is going to be a chain 3, and then into this space you're going to make 2 double crochets, and then make a cluster in every space until you get to the end. All right, when you get to the end, you're going to place the 3 double crochets to complete the row. Chain 1, and then cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail, because we're going to use it to weave in to join the shoulders. All right, I'll just leave it like this. All right, so this is what you should have. We have made only 2 rows here, and we're going to do the exact same thing on this side as well. So as you can see here, we're supposed to turn our work after this row when you come to work on this other side. So you're going to insert your hook into that space where you have your stitch marker, make a slip knot, and right here you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to make 1 cluster into the next space, make a cluster into the next, and all the spaces until you get to the end. All right, to complete the row, you're going to make a double crochet on top of that last stitch, chain 3, turn your work, and make 3 double crochets, rather 2 double crochets into that first space. Make 3 double crochets into the next space, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end. All right, and then you're going to make your last cluster right there. Chain 1, get your scissors, leaving a long tail, and cut. All right, I'm going to remove these stitch markers because they're making noise. Okay, so now your front panel should be looking like this. Okay, you're going to make another identical piece. You can decide to do the same design, or you can use one color just like what I did. Here is my front piece. I used a solid color, but you can change colors if that's what you want to go for. You will just have to repeat the same pattern, and this is what you will get. So next we're going to join the shoulders. We're going to join here and here. So we're joining here. I'm going to insert my hook right on top of this first stitch, which is a chain, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through. Then I'm going to use the single crochet stitch to join, but you can use any other stitch of your choice. So I'm making a single crochet going through both sides. Single crochet. This is the last stitch. So I'm making a single crochet and going back into that same space and making a slip stitch. Then chain 1. And we're now going to do this same thing on this part of the shoulders. All right, so now we have joined the shoulders. Next, we're going to work on the sleeves. So you need to know how wide you want your sleeves to be. So guys, I went ahead and marked where I want my sleeves to stop, and I have here 15 inches. Okay, so from here to here, this is the middle point. It is 7.5, and from here to where I have stopped to where I have placed the stitch marker is 7.5 as well. Okay, so you may want yours smaller depending on your size. So I'm now going to work from one stitch marker to the other, and we're going to continue like that to create the sleeve. So with my color here, I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm going to insert my hook right exactly in this same row that I placed my stitch marker. So right there I'm going to insert my hook and I'm going to make my first cluster. So I'm going to chain 3, which is going to count as my first double crochet, and then I'm going to make 2 more double crochets into that same space, like so. Then yarn over and skip this next space. Hope you guys can see it. Skip this next space, and into this you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Skip this next space, and into the next make a cluster of 3 double crochets, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the next stitch mark. When you get to this point, you're going to yarn over, skip this next space, and make a cluster right there. So when you get to this point here, you're going to yarn over and you're going to skip this next cluster across, and into this space you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Yarn over, skip this next cluster, and into the next make 3 double crochets. So for this, for the back panel, the pattern has changed a little bit. Instead of working over the clusters, we're working in the spaces where we had the chain 1 or double crochet. Okay, so repeat until you get to the stitch marker, then from there I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so this is my last space, and I'm going to take out the stitch marker and place there my last cluster of 3 double crochets. And this is how your first row should look like. Row 2 for the sleeve, you're going to chain 3, turn your work, then yarn over, and into this first space you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. Make a cluster of 3 double crochets into the next space, and you're going to be making 3 double crochets in every space until you get to the end. To complete the second row, you're going to place a double crochet on top of the chain 3 or in between the chain and the double crochet, whatever works for you. And you're going to repeat that row over and over until you have enough length for your sleeve. Feel free to change colors and add this pattern if you want to. I'll be back once I have a few rows, and then I'll show you guys how to do the rest, how to do the ribbing, just like we got here. Okay, so see you in a few. Part of my sleeve is completed here, and this is how it looks, and I have a total of 33 rows. Okay, just the sleeve, and this measures 16 inches long. So to start the ribbing of our sleeve, we're going to make a decrease row first. So chain 1, turn your work, and in this first stitch make a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and into the next we're going to make a decrease. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook and pull through all. After that, you're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then into the next 2 stitches, you're going to make a decrease. Okay, and you're going to keep alternating like that until you get to the end of the row. Here I show you how to decrease again. So insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook and pull through all. After that, you're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to decrease again. So you're going to keep repeating that until you get to the end. I have 1 more stitch left, and I'm going to make a single crochet right here and complete this row of single crochets, and this is what you should have. Next, we're going to make a chain of 21. And this is how long my ribbing is going to be. If you want yours short, you're going to chain 10, you're going to chain 11, and then repeat the same pattern that I'll be showing you. Here I just completed making my chain of 21. The next thing I'm going to do is skip the next chain, the first chain, and into the next I'm going to make a single crochet. Insert my hook into the next and make a single crochet. I'm working in the back bumps of my chains for this part. So insert your hook, pull up a loop and pull through all. And I'm going to repeat this until I get to the end of the chain. I'm working in the last stage that I have to complete this row, and this is what I have at this point, and I have a total of 20 single crochets. So if you chained 11, you should be having a total of 10 single crochets at this point. So you may need to count your stitches to make sure that you have that number. After, you're going to slip stitch on the body of the sleeve, like where we made the single crochet row. You're going to slip stitch on top of the next stitch, make a second slip stitch on top of the next one. After that, you're going to turn your work, and you're going to skip those 2 slip stitches we just made, and into the first single crochet you're going to insert your hook in the back loop only and make a single crochet, and you're going to continue making 1 single crochet in every back loop until you get to the end of the row. Once you get to the end of the row, instead of working in the back loop only for this last stitch, you're going to go through both and make a single crochet. Chain 1, turn your work, single crochet in the back loop only until you get to the end of the row. Again, when you get to the end of the row, you're going to slip stitch on top of the next stitch. This right here, slip stitch on top of the next stitch, then turn your work, skip those 2 slip stitches we just made, and into the next back loop you're going to make a single crochet in the back loop of the next stitch, and you're going to do that until you get to the end of the row. Okay, make 1 single crochet in every back loop until you get to the end, and I'll meet you there. Again, when you get to the end, you're going to make a single crochet in both loops to complete that row. And this is what you should have at this point. And you're going to repeat those 3 rows until you have no more single crochets to slip stitch into. Okay, so chain 1, turn your work, and make a single crochet in the back loop of that first stitch. And you're going to make single crochet in every back loop until you get to the end. So I'll show you guys one more time how to complete this row on the other side, and then I'll do the rest of the camera. When you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch on top of the next chain, slip stitch on top of the next chain, and turn your work. Skip those 2 slip stitches and into the next single crochet from the previous row, make a single crochet in the back loop only. I'm going to repeat this same pattern over and over until I have no more single crochets to slip stitch into. Okay, I will change colors along the way, but before that I'll show you guys how many inches the ribbing is. So here it measures 5 inches. That's how long it is. So if you made yours let's say 4 inches, it's gonna be that long. So I'll go ahead and do this. I'll change colors along the way, and then I'll be back to show you guys how many rows I made. Okay, I'm back and I have a total of 42 rows completed for this ribbing. And the next thing we're going to do is to join it. We're going to join this whole opening down to where we have the bottom ribbing. Okay, so we're going to make single crochets here, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Remember, while joining, you have to do this on the wrong side of your sweater. So that's why I'm turning it wrong side out so I can join it from the wrong side. Okay, so we're going to start from the sleeve, from the ribbing of the sleeve down to the other side of the ribbing, which is the bottom part. So using our 4.25 millimeter hook, we are going to make single crochet. So single crochet in that first stitch. So insert your hook and pull through. Insert your hook in the next stitch of both sides and single crochet. Single crochet in the next stitches of both sides, and you're going to repeat that until you have this whole ribbing part joined, and then I'll show you guys how to do the rest of the sweater. Then when you get to the side row of the sweater, you're going to make 3 single crochets in these first clusters of both sides. So insert your hook under both sides and make 3 double crochets in that same space. So 1, 2, and this is the third one, and into the next space you're going to make only 2. Into the next space you're going to make 3 single crochets, sorry. And in the next space, so you'll have to make sure that your work is very well aligned so that everything can line up the way it should. Okay, so into this next space we're making 3 single crochets, and we're going to repeat that, making single crochets until we get to the end. So we'll keep alternating between the 3 single crochets and the 2 single crochets. When you get to the bottom side of the ribbing, you're going to go through both sides and through both stitches and make a single crochet. So this is the first single crochet row we made after we made the ribbing, and now I'm going through both stitches with a single crochet, and I'm going to do this until I get to the end. Once you get to the end, you're going to make a single crochet in that last stitch of both sides. Then insert your hook in that same space for both sides and make a slip stitch, chain 1, and then cut the yarn. Then pull tight. So after joining it, this is how your work is going to look, and you're going to repeat this same pattern, this same process on the other side of your sweater so that everything is joined up. Okay, so after this you're going to flip your sweater and turn it right side out, and then we're going to start working on our neckline. So get the color that you're going to use for this part. I'm going to start with this color here, and I'm making a slip knot with my 5mm hook. I'm going to reattach my yarn right here at the seam line that we have for the shoulders. Okay, so I will insert my hook, chain 1, and in that same space you're going to go back with a single crochet, then into the next space we have a cluster here, so that's like a side row or side stitch. So I'm going to place there 2 single crochets, and into the next space I'm going to make 2 single crochets as well. Then into the next I'm going to be making 1 single crochet in every space. To make 1 single crochet, I'm hiding my tails as I go for this part. So I'm going to make single crochets until I get to the other side of the shoulders, and then I'll do the same thing that we did here by making 2 single crochets. When you get to this other side, you're going to make 2 single crochets in every space, just like we did for the other part. And from here you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get on the other side, and then once you get there, guys, I'll show you what to do next. Once you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch in the first single crochet that you made. So slip stitch, and then we're now going to change hooks to our back to our 4.25 millimeter hook, and we're going to chain, and we're going to make a chain of 25. Then we're going to add one more for our turning chain, and then we're going to make a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, single crochet in the next chain, single crochet in the next chain, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end of the chain. Okay, once you get to the end of the chain, make sure to count your stitches, and you should be having a total of 25 single crochets. Okay, so after that, you're going to slip stitch in the next single crochet, and just like we did for the sleeves, we're going to slip stitch in the single crochet row that we made around the neck. So in the next single crochet, you're going to slip stitch, slip stitch in the next stitch, then slightly turn your work, and we're now going to make one single crochet in every back loop. So skip those 2 slip stitches we just made, and in the next single crochet, make a single crochet in the back loop only. Single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, and you're going to do that until you get to the end of the row. When you get to the end and have one single crochet left, you're going to go through both loops to complete that stitch. And that's the end of row 2. So chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to make a single crochet in the next single crochet from the previous row, working in the back loop only. So you're basically repeating row 2 of the single crochets. So you're going to repeat this until you get to the end, and then you're going to slip stitch twice around the neck of the sweater, and you're going to repeat this. So I'll show you guys one more time. So finish this third row to the other side, and then I'll show you guys how to make the slip stitches, and then we can do the rest of camera. Okay, so I just made it to the end, and this is my last stitch. After that, you're going to make a slip stitch in the next stitch, in the next single crochet, slip stitch into the next stitch, then turn your work and skip those 2 slip stitches you just made, and into the first single crochet from the previous row, you're going to make a single crochet in the back loop only. To repeat that until you get to the end, and then I'm going to do the same, and I'll be changing colors. You can use one color if you want, but I'm going to change colors, and then I'll be back to show you guys how many rows I made. So I'm at the end of my very last row for the neckline, and I'm going to end it with a slip stitch right here. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through the loop on your hook and chain 1. So here I have a total of 72 rows. And if you want, you can join the sides right here. You can join this part, but for me, I choose to leave it open. I really love how it looks. So feel free to join that part with a darning needle, or you can use the single crochet stitch using your hook. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Make sure to weave in all your ends and you're good to go. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe and share this video with all your crochet cousins. And I'll see you in my next one, okay? Bye-bye.